Alrighty, folks. One of the things I'm doing this week is I'm having my guest react to videos that I find interesting. And this one's going to be with Chris Williamson, and I think Navani is his name, talking about life is short. How you doing this morning, Jonathan?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing well. You don't have no idea what you're in for today, which I appreciate you coming in. I'm actually constantly reminded that life is short. I spoke with the widow of Mark Ferguson, a big real estate guy, about 2 months ago. It was a very interesting conversation. I remember waking up in Taiwan, learning that Kobe Bryant and his daughter and I think 7 others passed in the helicopter crash. It's just always out there. Have you had similar memories?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember when Kobe passed immediately, but I think in general, my so many people around me just pass, right? And
Mhm.
there's never an explanation. And
Yeah.
yeah, what's the point of working so hard every single day
Yeah.
if
It's
it's
just
all
gone.
for gone? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, here we go. This is about a 30-second clip, so I will hit play and let you listen to it and then let you react.
Life is very short. How should people deal with its briefness? Enjoy it. Make the best of it. It's even briefer than that. Each moment just disappears and it's gone instantly. So if you're not there for it, if you're stressed out or you're anxious or you're thinking about something else, you missed it. So any moment when you're not in that moment, you are dead to that moment. You might as well be dead because your mind is off doing something else, or living in some imagined reality that is just a very poor substitute for the actual reality.
What do you think of that?
I haven't heard that one, and it actually invoked a little bit of sadness in me right that moment, just because I've I'm just thinking about how hard I've worked to get
Mhm.
to where I am, and the strains that it put on my siblings, my family, of just me working so much, and they're just like, no, he's busy, right? And that's just like my baseline is, oh, he's busy, so let's not
Mhm.
bother him about this, let's not bother him about that, and it's just family things. And for me now, I think it's built up, and now I'm like, wow, if I wasn't present when they had different events, right? I would be at a birthday party for my grandpa who passed, a year ago. I'd be at a birthday party for him, and I'd be taking calls, like with for clients, and um, same thing with all of my siblings' birthdays and all my parents' birthdays, and I would just constantly be thinking and working instead of being like, the what am I doing this for if I'm trying to take care of them and take care of the family,
Mhm.
and I am working so hard but I'm displaced. And his thing of like, you it's might as well be dead, like it's gone,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm thinking about that now, and the tolls of that add up, I think, to what it's gotten to now, which, again, the baseline for my entire family when they think of me is he's busy, right? It's almost like an excuse, like it's okay because you're busy. And I'm like, it evoked a little bit of emotion in me just purely because I'm like, wow, I've been so busy for, you
So
know,
long. Yeah.
so long. Yeah. And it's nonstop. And if I don't stop, my wife tells me this too. Like, you gotta like slow down sometimes, because if you don't stop and enjoy it, it's like, what was it all for
Yeah,
at the
let
end
me
of the
let me
day?
give you let me give you one piece of advice from a guy who's 20 years older than you and um made this mistake that you're kind of recognizing right now. Um you've got to find a way where to be more present. Like, for example, you go to the beach with your wife, for example. Leave the phone in the car. Just leave the fucking phone in the car. Be present. If you're going to go out to a nice dinner, like a date night, like you should, you're still a newlywed,
Hmm.
leave the phone in the car. And I say this as somebody who made endless amount of mistakes. And the shitty part is I was never present. When I was working, I was thinking about the family. And when I was with the family, I was thinking about working.
Yeah.
And, I always told myself I was doing it for the family. And again, with all of my being, I believed that. But I got to tell you, I don't know that the family cared. I think the family would have benefited from me being there. And again, it's not like you have to be there 24/7. But if you're going to go to the beach or a movie or a dinner, be there for that window of time. And the only thing you can do today is leave the phone in the car, because we just have this habit of
Yeah.
ripping out of our pocket. And the next thing you know, we've lost 15 minutes and your wife is staring at you while you look at your phone. Or
Yeah.
worse yet, she doesn't even call you on it anymore. She starts looking at her phone.
Yeah.
Right. So I would strongly suggest that you find time, to just, leave the phone, or now they have these devices where you can just block the signal, right? Put it in a bag and just block it.
Yeah. Is that crazy? You got to physically remove yourself. No, I agree. I think that's definitely, I think especially, I can't do anything about the past, right?
No,
But I
of course not.
I can do something about the future. So it's definitely an eye-opening
Yeah.
clip.
And again,
I didn't expect to get emotionally moved by,
by a 40-second clip.
By the clip that you had just showed me. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I got one more. Everybody's going to get to do two. So this also is
Okay.
from Chris Williamson. I believe he's talking about recommendations for young men. That's where I believe this video is. So let me pull this up.
I don't mean to be young guys and girls will message and say, I'm 13 and I love your podcast. What the fantastic. You are in a growth period that is unbelievable, and the people that you're getting exposed to, I wish I'd had access to at 13. What should I do if I want to improve myself? What books should I read? What practices should I do? I don't mean to be patronizing, but just go outside and live life. There is so much low-hanging fruit from knowing what it's like to have an argument with your friend and having to cycle home with a flat tire. There is so many life experiences that I think you will gain massive amounts, huge amounts of benefit from, over and above a 2D lesson. So me and my friend George have this conception of 2D lessons and 3D lessons. A 2D lesson would be reading about Warren Buffett's wealth through an autobiography or watching it. A 3D lesson would be hanging out with Warren Buffett at his house for an afternoon. No matter how immersive we try and make learning, you can't forget them. They're so visceral. And in a world where most of our time, an increasing proportion of our time is spent online, in-person 3D lessons become more and more and more powerful.
What do you think of that recommendation for teenagers in this case?
I agree. I think there's a huge disconnect, because I have two cousins that are in that age range, and you can see a stark difference between even their body, right, and how they are kind of growing between us, like me, when I remember when I was back as a teenager and I didn't have all these social media things, right, and I had to go outside, versus the kids now that are hunched over, right, staring at their phone, or like putting their iPad. They can't eat without watching something, and they just don't have interactions with each other anymore, right? They text each other, they DM each other.
Do they text each other when we're in the same room?
Yeah, it's crazy. They don't talk to each other, and I think like there is a huge benefit to fighting with your friends and just arguing, building that relationship with them, because it's okay to have differences. It's okay to have arguments, but I feel like these days everyone's so avoiding of that. It's an avoidant culture that's taken over, and that takes away from every child, and not child, but every teenager, especially in their developmental years, their ability to cope. I think that's what it takes away with, right? And they lose their ability to cope, and that then in turn, as they get older and older and older, because we're seeing some of those COVID kids that started that way, and now they're transitioning into adults. They can't interview. They don't know how to interview.
They don't look at you in the eye.
They don't know. They can't talk to you. They can barely shake your hand, right? Their handshake feels like a floppy dead fish. All that stuff is because they didn't have in this example, the 2D versus 3D.
Yeah,
right?
I like that.
You didn't have that interaction with 3D, and be like, nobody ever told you, hey, shake my hand firmly and look me in the eye and talk to me, right, as a person, not like, don't be distracted looking at your phone while talking to me. Yeah.
So let's bring this up a level. Again, in this particular conversation, these were 13-year-olds reaching out to Chris Williamson. So they're probably already ahead of the game. if they're listening to him, looking for advice and books and all of
Mhm.
that. But parents, if you've got teenagers and they're just stuck on their device and they're getting that little hunch in their neck, have them join team sports. Do something. Get them outside and interacting with other human beings. It's not okay to keep them inside and sheltered. They're going to be complete disasters when they enter the workforce.
Yeah.
I've got my whole last 8 or 9 years of my career was a hiring manager. And I have a lot of friends that do that now. And they're telling me about these 20-year-olds coming in for entry-level jobs. It's embarrassing. It is flat out embarrassing.
It really is. And I think we don't see the effects. We don't see the danger because every parent, I think, does it out of convenience.
Sure.
Because my wife and I are trying to have kids too. So we're like, how do we want to shape this, right, for our kids as well? And obviously, screens and everything is just, it's a convenience matter,
Sure.
right? So the
Keep 'em
parents
quiet.
feel a little, yeah,
Yep.
exactly. But I think there's so many different ways to interact with kids that you can still be kept quiet, but they just have to be introduced to these different avenues, right? For example, if you're reading or if you're, whatever you're doing that's a little more brain active, right? If you train them at a younger age that's normal, it's okay. But that takes more work out of the
Mhm.
parents because it's like an extra job for the parents to be like, I gotta make these crafts, make these arrangements to make sure my kids, are not stuck on the phone. I think if you just take that extra bit, like, because I have friends, very successful friends that have done that with their kids, and it was the wildest thing. I walked into the house, no TV was on, nothing.
Mm.
The kids were outside playing, like
Nice.
outside playing, and I was like, that's so rare these days.
Shout
Yeah,
out those parents. Yeah.
yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, folks, at the end of the day, hopefully you enjoyed this week. We're getting all our millionaires to react to videos. They do not know what's coming. These are all surprise. Jonathan, you did a great job. I appreciate you. If somebody wanted to get a DSCR loan or loan started, where do they go?
Go to convoyhomeloans.com and /ORAT and let us know you came from ORAT.
There you go, folks. He's actually added us to the website, which makes me feel all kinds of warm and fuzzy. convoyhomeloans.com /ORAT. Nice work, Jonathan.
Thank you.